whatever you focus on grows, and whatever you focus on is what you're going to feel. Anxiety. This is something I think a lot of us have been experiencing recently. I mean, some people have had this ongoing in their world for as long as they can remember. But I mean, in these unprecedented times where our world has been turned upside down, so many of us are starting to experience a lot of those symptoms of anxiety. I mean, if you've ever kind of felt sort of restless, kind of like on the edge, like you're wound up, you know, those butterflies in your stomach, that, I don't know, tension in your chest that just feels like you need to do something. Or if you've had trouble like falling asleep because you just can't get your mind to shut off, or difficulty staying asleep for the same reason. These thoughts just keep waking you up and keeping you up. You can't seem to slow down your mind. It just keeps going, right? You might have some muscle tension like in your neck or in your back, or feeling like you can't seem to control the worry. You're just always worried about something. And you're feeling this anxious tension to do something about it. I mean, anxiety is this feeling of unease in our system, this sense of worry or fear. And everybody has felt anxiety at some point in time in their life. You know, you might be worried about a meeting with your boss, or taking an exam, or having some medical tests done. And during times like these, we can feel anxious. And that anxiety is perfectly normal. It's a part of our natural system. But some people really find it hard to actually get in control of their worries and their fears. And these feelings of anxiety are more constant and start to affect our daily lives when we're worrying about all of the things that could go wrong, all the things that are happening in our world. I mean, our anxiety system, it's naturally born into us, and it's not something that we want to turn off, like a fire alarm, right? We need it. It protects us from real danger, like the fire. But we also don't want it going off when we burn the toast or something like that. We don't want it to be hyperactive, overactive. And so sometimes we feel like we just can't seem to find that balance, that control. And we're worrying about all these things, and we're getting that fire alarm go off, even when it's things that we know that maybe we can't do anything about, or that are not immediate dangers in our life. See, our biggest challenge is that it's completely against our nature to turn off our alarm system. It's designed there, right? It's designed to keep us alive. And when we live in a world that is full of life and death dangers, then that's when it's really beneficial for us as a species to stay alert. And there was a time in our world when that was really important. But unfortunately, this system is not as well suited to the modern world that we live in. We don't have to respond to dangers as suddenly as we would if, say, we were being chased by a rabid dog. In nature, this system would activate our fight, flight, or freeze response, and then that would go away as soon as the danger was gone. But unfortunately, the rabid dogs of our time, of our world right now, are threats like job loss, or saying something stupid, or financial stress, or injustice, or relationship challenges. But we need to recognize that when we start to lean into these anxieties, we start to harm our system. Why should we try to reduce our anxiety anyway? I think sometimes we think, well, I know that I have no control over this situation, but at least I can worry about it. So maybe, I don't know, staying anxious all the time is good. No. Actually, it's actually really important that we get in control of our anxiety and that response that we're having to those fears all around us. But we first need to understand what that anxiety is telling us. We need to acknowledge whatever that fear is, because there's a possibility that whatever it is that we are afraid of could actually come to pass. And you know what? There is a little grain of truth in every fear that we experience. But just because those things are possible does not mean that we need to overwhelm ourselves and stress ourselves out and not reduce that anxiety and lose sleep over a brain that won't shut off, because this is actually starting to harm our system. The reality is that anxiety can create a snowball effect in our world. Anxiety steals our joy because it causes us to stop being present and stop enjoying the things that we normally would. It steals our ability to care for ourselves, because when we get stressed out, when we get over anxious, we either binge eat or we stop eating, and that causes our brain to get run down, and then we go into hangry, and all of a sudden our emotions start to rise. Those things that we were worried about skyrocket. It also steals our ability to lean into peace and joy, and it stops us from being able to sleep effectively, because either we're challenged to fall asleep because we can't get this brain to shut off, or we can't stay asleep because we keep waking up and then ruminating on those fears, right? Prolonged anxiety is actually deeply toxic to our brains and our bodies. It causes all of these chemicals to be released into our body, which age us, breaks down muscle, tissue, organs, breaks down our immune system. So then we're going to be more prone to things like disease or emotional problems that are going to be really dangerous to us. It also leads us to chronic illness. When our survival brain is turned on, our thinking and reasoning brain gets turned off. And so if you've ever, say, fumbled over your words in a job interview or made a poor decision when you were under high amounts of stress, then you've been feeling the impact of that deactivation of your higher order cognitive functions because of anxiety and stress. It is really an ironic system, because it's designed to protect us from harm, but instead it's actually putting us at greater risk. Too often we let our emotions control us. We're thinking about, we're dwelling on, we're meditating on things that create those negative emotions. And what we surround ourselves with impacts those emotions. So we have to get in control of our habits. We have to get in control of our thoughts. We have to get in control of our environment, because we can control this and we can get out. You know, your inner demon thrives on your emotions. It uses your emotions as a weapon. When you agree with the fear, when you meditate on the fear, whatever you focus on grows. And whatever you focus on is what you're going to feel. So when you start to purposely shift what you're focusing on, and you start to change what you feel, you can start to shift that experience of anxiety in your world, and you can feel back in control of your life. And this is why I'm actually holding a free masterclass on November the 5th at 6:30 called Coping with COVID. It's all about creating some of that freedom from anxiety, stress, depression that is coming out of this new world that we live in today. And so in that masterclass, I'm going to give you 3 strategies that you can implement immediately that are going to start to help you get that freedom from that anxiety, from that stress, from that overwhelm that has been negatively impacting your world. The link is right here. Please sign up, register for it, and I'll see you on November the 5th. Also, this is just the start of a series of videos that I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some tools and some strategies over the next few weeks. So actually subscribe to my channel so that you can get notified when the next videos come up, so that you can stay informed and you can get all of the tools that I'm going to be sharing over the next few weeks. All right, have a beautiful rest of your week. Bye for now.